Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World. I am Scientific, and this is another match in the Old World Community Tournament. We are in part 2 of the tense, exciting matchup between Nizar and Yagman. Our players are just joining in, just getting set up now. We'll be getting underway shortly. And I'll do a quick recap once I'm fully set up here. All right. So, yep. All right. So, we are on turn 38 of the Nizar Yagman matchup. It's been an exciting, tense moment. Really interesting square dual map on an inland sea. We have Assyria on Nizar's side and Axum on the others. Most of the tension of this game has revolved around the fact that there's a outstretching peninsula extending from the capital, meeting across this island in the center here. There was some really exciting, tense play. If you haven't seen the first half, I highly recommend going back and watching it just to see some of the subtleties of the different decisions both players made while expanding, in particular how they kind of tackled the strategic importance of this island. But right now, the main tension is Nizar's advanced forces of archers and ballista are staged on this island. However, since Yagman was able to expand his coastline before this city got settled, Nizar currently has no way to make landfall. The impending threat for Axum at this stage is that there is a free bireme on the way for Assyria. So, the threat is, if this bireme hits the water, is able to get into this region and anchor for at least one turn, then the devastating forces of Assyria, including this ballista, can get all the way across into this peninsula and begin to wreak havoc on Axum. Now, for Yagman's part, he spent a decent amount of time building navy. He's already lost one ship off the coast of Assyria, but there are 3 ships in the water. So, in theory, Yagman has the potential to destroy this bireme while it anchors. There are very, very few, if any, locations that Nizar could actually successfully dock. So let's take a look at the visibility here. We are on Yagman's turn. So, unfortunately, I don't think the docking range is enough. What, we have 3 tiles? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So, anywhere that Nizar can dock will be put him in visibility range of Axum. And Axum has the mobility on his ships, or at least one of them. He'd have to force march 2 of them to get in range and should be able to disable that ship. He might be short one attack, but he could also zone of control lock. There are some possibilities to prevent landfall here, I think. So it could come down to something like promotions if the free bireme comes out and has access to the lading promotion and Yagman's not able to see it. In theory, Nizar could then stage here with the boat, anchor for 1 turn, and then this location will be much more difficult to dislodge the ship from. We do have the opportunity to get a fire ship promotion. However, it's hard to be able to predict the use of that in this case. going to be a very, very exciting match. I'm very much looking forward to this match continuing. We also have, on Action, we have the Ishtar Gate coming out in one turn. Unfortunately, we have one extra city site we could have settled to get an extra culture boost, an extra culture event, and of course, another location we can rush from. Let's do a quick recap, opening recap of stats for those of you joining now. How much time do we have? 15 orders? Yeah, we have plenty of time. Okay, so stats so far. We have a wealthy Axum. Yagman has 2,400 wealth to 900 on Assyria. There's larger population in Axum as well. Specialist count favors Yagman as well, and a slight edge on workers. Military units produced, 10 more produced on Yagman. However, 4 of those were ships, so they're the stronger land army, or they're similar land army, and Nizar does, in fact, have archers. He got a lucky turn 15 composite bow from a event boost. So that, this is going to be in range of some archers here. Hopefully he won't be able to destroy it. We do have some aggressive staging on the behalf of Axum off the coast of Assyria. I worry because with these crits, with this crit potential, he could lose a ship here. And then this could put him in a very dangerous situation once that free buy room comes out. In fact, when the free buy room comes out next turn, he actually... Oh no. I'm just realizing now, this free buy room over here on Nizar's turn will come out next turn. We will have archers here. So this is 4 damage with a very high chance to crit. It's a 74% chance to crit, so this might as well be 8 damage. That's 10 damage. Take another look around here for more opportunities to create damage. 12. 13, 14. I think the ship is dead, especially if he gets at least one more crit from another archer on one target. Nizar will be able to kill a ship. So this is going to be very... We're going to kick off with a bang here. Yep, we can do 7 damage to this. No other promotion on this biream. This other biream is down here. Yeah, so there's a real big problem here for Yagman. Can't afford to lose a ship in this situation. However, you know, Nizar has to figure out this puzzle, right? He has to realize that he's not going to be able to stage and anchor this ship in an area where he needs it without killing ships. So he'll have to puzzle this out himself. All right, let me just check, make sure that my sound is on. There we go. All right, so we just got the free biream. We have drama, rhetoric. All right, we're coming up with an archer. Probably going to get that crit. He'll definitely want that crit. That'll be 11 damage right now if that crits. If we get 1 crit. This is a 25% chance to crit. 2 crits. All we need is 2 crits on archers, and that ship right here will definitely be dead. And then that will give Nizar the supremacy he needs on the ocean, because again, he only needs his ship to survive 1 turn of anchor in order to get the rest of his army into Axum. Going for forestry now. Okay. Let's take a look at this power graph. Yagman's showing stronger here. But again, a good concentration of that military is ships. And there we go. We have that first crit. That ship is dead. That ship is definitely dead. Because now here comes this ship to come up. Oh, we're going to have to buy an order, though. That's all right. So, bad news, though, for Yagman. Another ship lost off the coast of Assyria. You need to be mindful of the range of archers here. All right. Yep, we purchased that order and we got that kill. This is another ship lost off the coast of Assyria for the Axumites. You really need to be mindful of... And what's interesting is, I feel like he could have structured his units in such a way where maybe they could have been pelted only a small amount, like maybe one out here and... No, he would have had to be closer. But it could have he could have made it tighter where that Axumite ship, the Syrian ship would have been have a harder time to cross through without getting harassed by Axumite ships. But now we have a very, 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 very awful situation for Yagman here. Not looking good. So let's see what damage we can do. We can only do 5 damage to the ship, so even 3 ships wouldn't be enough to kill it. So next turn, this ship will be able to get into anchoring range. So really, really dire situation for Yagman here. Really, really dire situation. Yagman's going to have to get all of his troops into the region. Nizar has eyes on these units down here. If we can get an anchor down here to cross this bay, that'll help get our slingers back, but I mean, the ballista is going to be a serious issue. This ballista also does have tactician on it, so you're going to need to use slingers for it. We have axemen coming out. We need more ranged units here. Really need to stay away from archers on the coastline. I think a bit of oversight here is that the fact that it's very easy to look at these battle scores, right? This damage chart and think, well, an archer can only do 3 damage to a ship, which isn't much, but enough archers targeting a ship can kill it, especially if they can all crit. Unfortunate situation for Axum to be in. They did have the ability to deal with that ship. But now they're going to have a real issue on their hands. Especially because once that ship gets into this bay with an anchor, you only have 2 ships to attack. The archers can take their time. You don't necessarily need to jump across into Axum right away. If you can destroy their navy first, that will guarantee you continued landfall across the way here. Oh, what I didn't do was check the payout of the Ishtar Gate. So let's see if we could take a look here. We got 44 science from this. We're retreating with our ship. We got a happiness level. We got some legitimacy. And an ambition. So not a huge payout here from the Ishtar Gate, which is unfortunate. But 44 science is nice. Oh. Okay. Yeah, no, because that was nervous. You really don't want to bring these ships any closer to the Assyrian coastline. But he's really going to have a problem here once it's ship anchors, because I feel like if we anchor right here, we can't kill it in one turn. You would need to try and zone of control lock this coast while making sure that his ship can't get killed, too. Going to be really, really tricky. This might be a good situation to put... this ship has a guard promotion. Maybe a very strong guard promotion on your navy. Because you could theoretically sit in this spot, and as long as no one can kill you, one archer can hit, two archer, three, four. Four archers could hit, and then the ship would hit, so that would be a problem. That's definitely killable in that location, but maybe if you have guard, it makes it harder. We have another Byron coming out. What's our civic situation over there? Really going to want to rush one out. Probably should rush one out of the trader's seat. Since this comes out in 3 turns, you could rush a 7-turn Byreem out of the trader's seat. That way it would get you another ship next turn, and then another ship 2 turns later. That's a good way to do it. Produce naturally in your high training hubs, and then rush elsewhere. But really looking precarious here for Yagman, because basically the only situation I feel like... Okay, cool. So Nizar is not going straight in for the kill. This is great news. This is great news. Great news for Yagman. There's still pressure here. But he's taking his time. He's seeing these raiders. And even if this raider hops into the ocean, Nizar could take his time. That could be fantastic. Nizar could just take his time, which would give Axum some time to get another ship in the water. And then maybe a rotation. As long as Nizar can't kill one ship in a turn here in this strait, a rotation of ships in this bay would prevent landing due to zone of control. So there is now an opportunity here. This raid could actually end up saving. Shockingly enough, this raid could end up saving the Axumites. Incredible. Incredible the way the ecosystem of this game works and the way players react to different things that are going on and happening in the game. Yeah, so look at this. This is just one ship dying. That's how tense. That's how much the ships are contributing. And that's how tense the difference between these two players is. This drop in power is the death of one ship and the arrival of a single Axeman. And just think that there are 2 more ships in the water for Yagman. It's going to be really, really difficult to deal with a horde of archers. We can do 4-turn archers in the capital. Compared to... Okay, they're actually the same amount of training in each capital. That's really nice to see. 21 in the Hunter's capital, and 22, in fact, in the Patron's seat. That's nice. Great. Also, just to say, if you're joining us live, we appreciate you being here. We have a few people in chat with us now, so feel free to say hello or ask questions or make comments if you've seen part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, definitely go back and check it out. There's been a lot of great, interesting tension. That was one of my favorite matches to cast so far. And if you're joining us on YouTube, please give us a like and a subscribe. Check out the Mohawk playlist and go through all the tournament content. Lots of great action, great games happening. It looks like... So, given this vision that Nizar has, it looks like he's also content to send some units down south. He still has one site on his side of the map left he can clear, and he might opt to try and pressure this central site since there's just a handful of slingers down here. Let's pop on over to Yagman and see what we have. All right, we have a nice border boost coming up on the table. Training boost could also be nice. That's an interesting decision, but this border boost will completely unify his coast, which is just going to be amazing here. Unfortunate that we didn't prep settlers for these 2 sites, because the Ishtar and border boost combo would have just been delightful, but no real issue there. Hello, chat. Yes, thanks for joining us. Happy to be casting. Great to be back in the arena. This is one of the really, really tense matches. It's nice to see Axemen being built up, though. What we need, where are we tech-wise for Yagman? No composite bow just yet. That would be a really nice grab for him. Where is that in the deck? Let's take a look here. It's in his draw pile, as well as a free Demit Warrior. I really hope he commits to composite bow here. He needs archers of his own. The Demits can wait. Let's take a look at laws. There's 3 laws on Axum. And there's 2 laws on Assyria. So, yeah, you don't want to spend the time to do monasticism. Oh, unfortunate. He could actually be... The border boost is hard to pass up in this situation because you really want to secure this coast. But Rhetoric is also in the deck, so I could see a case for grabbing that just because I think it was like a 2-turn Rhetoric. And that would get you 6 strength Dimit Warriors coming out within 10 turns or so. And that, excuse me. Ooh, forgive me. Took a sip of water and it went down the wrong way. Yeah, so that could create about 10 turns from now, give you 6 strength Dimit Warriors, which would really help blunt. It's really hard to attack a melee force with a ranged force with primarily melee units, but the Dimits would help, combined with your own archers or slingers, the Dimits would help even that power scale out slightly. You kind of walk up to a unit, whack it with a Dimit Warrior, and then fire on it with all your ranged units. It actually will make slingers much closer to archers in terms of damage parity. Just to have their targets disarmed, which is a nice little perk. Very, very close to another Byreme. I really would like to see maybe a rushing out of either... Okay, so this is a good example. Just rush this, right? We're not getting our law this turn. We have 86 civics right now. No real reason not to just rush this right now. You're worried about the pressure of... You now know... This is the other thing, is... Yagman doesn't know if that's the free Byreme or if it's navigation. He can maybe intuit that because Nizar does not yet have serfdom or colonies adopted up here. But maybe, maybe as far as Yagman knows, Nizar doesn't have the civics, right? So after a couple turns, you can intuit that perhaps it's the free Byreme card. But... since you don't necessarily know that right now, it might be worth to just rush out a ship. Alright, back over to Nizar. Let's see what he opts to do. This raider hasn't... Alright, we're moving up. Terrifying. We're getting another crit. Even more terrifying. We have Amphibious, which will be awful. But this is nice. This one ship here is good because he's still going to have... Remember, it takes a 1 turn to anchor. So, although, oh man, grapple would also suck. Fire ship would suck. So this does still buy Yagman a turn. And let's see if Yagman can see that yet. No, it's perfectly invisible. Great. That's awful. So this can come right out. Let's take a look here. This could come right out and whack this ship, give it a crit. But honestly, Yagman might want that. If Nizar chooses to be aggressive here and tries to aggress against a ship, you could then force march Yagman could force march a ship from far away and lock it in place and try to kill it. And we do have some troop movements down south. 2 axes, 2 archers making its way towards this camp, making its way towards the center. This is going to be a bad day for the Axumites with no settler on the way. So one of the reasons why, as you want to try and match your settler potential. So this is actually a good example here with Nizar. Nizar's coming up to clear a camp. And he actually has a settler 2 turns away. Compare it to Axum, who's already cleared a camp and another camp and still isn't building a settler anywhere. Of course, he probably does feel under pressure from his opponent, so there are reasons to maybe delay that, but tricky thing to... You're almost better served not to clear the site if you can't settle it, because now if Nizar comes up to threaten this location, well, you're going to have to back off, and you've basically just done all the work, spending your orders and such to clear the site and hand it to your opponent. Meanwhile, the north is uncolonized, which is really cool. You know, a nice set of uninhabited tribal sites that will be basically pouring down raiders on our players for the majority of the game, since I feel like we're past the point of them being able to expand up there. So these raiders are headed to Nizar, and I feel like the Thracians and the Vandals will just keep ping-ponging raiders back and forth to the players, which is just really cool. I love the way the different arenas and matches can create interesting landscapes and obstacles for our players to navigate while they try to one-up each other. Alright, so there's a big choice to be made here. Composite bow in 6 turns, or the free Dimit. Oh, dear God. No. This is so important to talk about. Although we do have a discard pile, so you could technically shuffle composite bow directly back into your hand. So that would be the best case scenario. However, if it were me, I would not risk that. I would toss the free Dimit. I mean, this will come in handy to be sure, but I just think I would be building a bunch of slingers while teching composite bow, preparing to upgrade all of them into archers for myself and get that parity, because the other thing is that the quicker we get, especially actually with this draw pile, right? That's another thing. If we take composite bow now, what will happen is the free ballista will land in the discard pile and also immediately get shuffled. Which means, by getting composite bow now, rather than crossing our fingers and hoping that we get composite on the reshuffle when we roll the Dimit, we could cross our fingers and hope the free ballista lands in our hand immediately. So we could literally just go composite into free ballista, one after the other. So that's that I'm considering a mistake for Axum, because that ballista will really help you out. We're back over to Nizar. Nizar has crit on his... He has 25% crit on the ship. Be curious if he opts to engage, promote further, or try to go in for the anchor. He does have another raider coming in. It would be interesting to see if he tries to backpedal with his ship. Probably would not be the correct move, but raiders can get distracting. And he can see another raider coming from the north as well. So these raiders are potentially going to buy the Axumites time. All right, we're spending some... All right, we're coming down here first. We're going towards the next tribe site, the next barbarian site, going it straight in for some clearing. This is also, again, great news for the Axumites, signaling to me that he's not looking to press aggressively across that ocean just yet. Moving his schemer scout. Checking to see what's available. What the Axumites are dealing. And this is the other thing. You spend a time clearing the site, and now you're sitting here camped with wounded units. So I'll talk about a favorite trick of mine. 8 orders left. I suspect we're not going to see any major military movements. So a favorite trick of mine. We have a hero out here anyway, right? So you took some time. You cleared this site. I mean, we just attacked. I'd love to see something like this. And what I normally do is I will, next turn, I'll put my full health unit in the city, in the site to hold it. I'll back this guy off somewhere. And then I put this hero on the wounded unit. So on the next turn, I can start healing up my wounded unit. There's no reason you can't shuffle your heroes around across wounded units out in the open like this and just get indefinite healing. I think it's easy to get distracted and think, oh, this is my general on this unit, but I move my heroes in particular. I don't do this with any other class because there's no real point. But out in the open here, he could actually heal up this entire army just by putting a hero here, healing once, putting a hero here, and healing 2 or 3 times. Nice little trick. 2 turns on forestry. Feel like we might have gotten a science boost on this turn as well. Maybe a culture level up. This city looks like it leveled up culture recently. We're running council here. I guess at a decent civic rate, but not really sure why. All right, back over to Yagman and the Axumites. Thanks for joining us in chat. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, thanks for joining us there as well. We have a 3rd ship in the water. This is great for Axum. But this is essential to secure this buffer here so that this ballista can't, hurl itself across the ocean into your territory. But oh, and we got, oh, look at it. This is amazing. This is amazing. We got the free dimit and composite bow came right back into the hand. Okay. All right. Now we're cooking. That's really good luck. Awesome. So let's hope he grabs composite bow. I'd also like to see a spoked wheel grab. Do we have horses anywhere good? No. Do we have horses anywhere? Oh, we do. Oh, we have horses in the champ seat. Perfect. All right, yeah. So spoked wheel would be great as well because from what... No, we're getting phalanx? Why are we getting phalanx? Oh, this is awful. No. Okay, well, here I am, backseat driving, trying to micro these guys' games, but that's unfortunate. But, however, there's a silver lining to this. Spoked wheel is in the draw pile, and I do think chariots would be immensely handy here. A chariot will do massive damage to the ballista, and if your opponent... from what Yagman has seen so far, our opponent doesn't have any spears yet. So, technically, one thing that's good about Phalanx is that it's 3 turns, and it would get us to spoked wheel quicker. However, to me, it just makes sense to just get my own archers so we can have archer on archer combat. And let's not forget, these hills overlooking this city, 2 archers, well, 1 archer on this hill could hit these 2 tiles with no response from Assyria. So you can just pelt the city repeatedly over and over and over and over again and just funnel discontent into the Assyrian champions family, because every hit you poke a city for, it'll increase the discontent by 1. So, sorry, by 10. So if we look at the discontent rate here in this Assyrian city, it's 9, right? So what you would effectively do by it's 9 per turn. I'll go a little slow on that. This is 9 discontent per turn in this champion city, which means if Yagman just puts an archer on this hill, he will double the discontent rate of this city by attacking it every single turn. And that can really tilt your opponent and add stress and pressure to their situation, even if it doesn't really amount to too much diplomatically or politically, right? Really great opinions in Axum, though, by the way, speaking of opinion. Massive, strong opinion on the patrons. Really good with our traders. Let's take a look back now over at Assyria and take a look at their opinion situation. So, right, so here's a great example. Champion's opinion isn't even that great right now. And let's not forget, every level of discontent this goes up, this opinion will go down by 20. So you basically have a little ticking time bomb of the ability to just funnel low opinion into your opponent's military city of all, the military families of all families, right? So, yeah, that's why I think composite bow is just essential right now for Yagman. Making quick work of this camp down here. Raider coming in. So this is nice. This is really, really good for Yagman that Nizar didn't quite. I mean, this ship is exactly where it should be. We have another promotion. So we can do. Oh, wow. I can get another crit. This is awful. But fortunately for Yagman, no lading promotion on this, right? So he can't anchor from this location. He's going to have to show the ship. He's going to have to bring it out into the water in order to anchor onto this coast, which is really, really great for Yagman. But still, nice to see that Yagman has gotten time in this situation. Let's see how many times. Nizar has only bought orders 4 times with his schemer, by the way. So we don't have a massive early surge of orders for Assyria in this game. And we're getting our last crit. So now we have a 45% chance to crit. Oh, no, we do have lading. Oh, no. There is one. I forgot. I miscalculated the number of promotions because of the free focus that Assyria has. So they do have one more level. They do have one promotion. And there it is. There's lading. If we get this, there's enough turns. It's what, 3 more turns? Yeah, and 3 more turns. If Nizar can figure out that he needs to adopt lading. Oh, you know what? He's still not able to do it. No, yeah, he can. He'll be able to anchor across this tile. So this would be his entry point. There's no way to destroy that ship, because even if he flanked it on 2 sides, it'd do just 10 damage to it, and then Assyria would destroy whatever's there. So what we need to try and do is figure out a way to block the movement across this tile. You could zone of control lock it so a ship here would work, but again, this ship would be in trouble if that happens. All right, Yagman's coming down to anchor down here. This settler is 1 turn away. We need another anchor. Let's see if he has it. Yep. He could force march into this location. Anchor down here. That will get him the ability to settle next turn. Really interesting map. Love this arena. Question in chat says, what do I think about Assyria coming down here and settling first before attacking? I think that's a mistake, because I think the balance in power here is tenuous enough. Of course, it's impossible to know this, but we do have a scout. You know, we do have an Assyrian scout. We can kind of see what we're working with, right? And I think with enough archers staged on this island, if you really could get this anchor off. But right now, I think the trouble is, you know, how do we make sure that our ships can anchor across the water? That's basically the trouble we're in. So it's only basically the answer to that question, and I don't have an answer myself, is how reliable you could actually succeed in moving this ship into some type of positioning, anchoring it, and then getting your archers across. You know, I'm not playing the game specifically, so I really haven't just sat here because I'm trying to pay attention to other things. I haven't really puzzled this out completely, but if that's possible, then I think rather than having these units down here, I would have every unit on the island, and I would try to puzzle that out. Just because our opponent still has slingers, and I think archers attacking into axes, you know, axes don't do anything to archers. It's just 5 damage. And they take 5 damage in return, but we also have the ballista, right? And, you know, basically, the more time you give your opponent, the more dangerous it becomes. They become. But, you know, nothing is a sure thing in Old World. Early aggression is very risky. Can be very risky if Nizar went for that play. and the Axumites managed to push them back into the ocean. Well, then, oh, we do have an anchor. Actually, we don't need another boat. Our border's right there because of the border boost. Lovely, beautiful border boost across this. This is great. So our settler will come out next turn and we'll be able to settle down here. Yeah, it's really, early aggression's a really difficult thing to get right. And it's one of those things where if you get it wrong, then that can cost you the game. So, I mean, this is certainly the safer bet. And this, you know, let's take a look at the science rate, actually, while I'm at here. So this is the main concern, and this is one of the reasons why we think about early aggression, right? Let's take a look at... So we know from the start of the game that at one point Nizar was, or Axum was showing naive, maybe? Because of the early composite bow grab, right? Nizar got an event that got him composite bow very early on at 50 on turn 15. It was one of those lucky free tech events, and so that put Axum in the naive category of science, right down here. Pretty much since that point. So now what we're seeing that Axum is competent, right? So that's what we as a player can deduce in this moment. But we as the observer, right, can look at this. And these types of moments is what I get concerned out when I'm thinking about the game, thinking about what position I'm in to aggress early, is because if you're plateauing on science, all right, we have a ship moving in. I'll get back to that thought process in a second. All right, we're gonna... Oh, we no crit. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is so good. This is so good for Yagman. Can all these ships force march? At least one can force march. There's 13 health. He could risk. I really hope Yagman is feeling risky today. I really hope he's feeling risky, because if he force marches this ship here, he'll lock this ship in place and he'll do 10 damage. If he moves this other ship close enough, he doesn't even need to force march it next turn. If this ship attacks next turn and gets a crit, this ship, yes, it will die. But then you'll have another 2 ships in the region that can do another 10 damage to this ship, so then this ship would die next turn. Yagman completely has the potential to kill this ship. And that will, until, let's take a look at the text here. We're still 2 techs away. We're not even we're getting husbandry. We're not getting labor force. So we're nowhere near, we're going to be nowhere near navigation soon. So this will definitively ensure that Nizar does not have an ocean route into Axum. And that will put the battle down here, which is, you know, much easier to deal with than worrying about units that can come into your land without your ability to basically beat them back, really, right? So, all right, this is fantastic. Let's take a look here now on how Yagman handles this circumstance. He absolutely can do... We're getting a settler? Oh, that's a very weird... I would hang back. I don't know why we went so forward. All right, we have a champ seat there. That's not ideal, because now the issue with this is that you can get archers up in these hills and they can just poke your city. So the same thing happened. The same thing up here. Okay, so still. 5 damage on that. Come on. Lock it in place. Lock it in place. Yes! 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 Oh, good job! Yes! Oh, this is amazing! This is amazing! Even if he crits next turn and kills this ship, it'll be locked. It's stuck because it can't move. What? Oh no! What did you do? Oh no! People! Oh my goodness! Players, watching these tournaments, please, for the love of God, it's okay to sacrifice your units. A kill that even if the ship died, it would have been a kill for a kill. Even though it's promotion, right? Okay, you spent some time promoting it, right? If this was here, it could not move, right? This ship would have killed this ship with a crit. But that's only if it crit. Sure, 75% chance, no, 45% chance to crit. Good chance, right? But then if this ship dies, you then kill this ship next turn. And you get all of these promotions dead. No! I can't believe he retreated that ship. Oh my god. And now he's going to be able to get away. And this creates the same problem that Yagman's... I mean, apparently neither player is aware of this threat at the moment, but this creates the same issue, is that once Nizar decides to get in a tight spot and anchor, I mean, now Axum still has enough ships in the water where he could maybe kill something. But, boy, that would have been a guaranteed solution to that problem. So, Yagman, if you're watching this after the fact, I would have traded the ship for a ship. It's literally one bireme for one bireme. I understand, though. I guess we've already lost... The Axumites have already lost 2 ships off the coast of Assyria, so it would hurt to lose another one. But, man, unbeknownst, there it is. There it goes. Wow, immediately. There it goes. Can't kill it there. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Boy, that is frustrating. I'm going to have a hard time recovering from that. That was a tactical blunder. Because even with this ship, right? He had these 2 ships. He could have zone locked with these 2 ships and still retreated the ship. Right? Because this one forced marched. And I know he had to spend some training last turn, so he still had 300 training left, so I think he could have just zone-locked with this ship instead. So zone of control, very, very important. If you're watching this, looking for tips, really, really try to focus on zone of control. Let's see if I can... So basically the way zone of control works is if you're in a red location, you can't move to another red location. So by getting somebody in between you... you're basically stuck. Also, if someone is on both sides of you, you can't move out of it. Yeah, that sucks. Anyway, we've settled our city. Another hunter's seat down here. Another hunter's city down there. That's nice. Yeah, and really this forward settle on this champ seat... I mean, I guess archers on these hills would have still created the same problem back there, so I suppose it doesn't matter too much. Also, this would have been an ungodly patron site. I think the defensive attribute of champions is overrated and a bit of a trap. I mean, you get your unit protection here, but if you put patrons here, right, you get culture immensely fast. You'd be developing in no time, so you could rush from the city. And also, I mean, the reason why I dislike the defensive boost on champions is because you don't want people attacking your cities in the first place. If people are attacking your cities, you want to kill their army. So, yes, in some situations it can buy you time, but in reality, I mean, think about when people fight battles, right, in these tournaments. The number one thing you do first before you start taking cities is try to kill each other's army. So my issue with the champ bonus of the defensive ability, if people are attacking your cities, you're already losing that battle. So it doesn't actually do anything for you. In some situations, it can buy time. So it's not, you know, I'm not saying it's universally useless, but I think it's overrated is all what I'm saying. Because you don't want people attacking your cities. If people are attacking your cities, you've already lost a battle. In theory, anyway. So, essentially my idea is, like, don't make a plan that involves your opponent attacking a city. Because that's probably a bad plan. All right, Nizar is finishing up. We're going to be headed back over to Axum here. I'll be curious if he tries to go on the hunt for this ship. I don't think he'd be able to kill it in that position. So probably... And then whatever he sends into this strait would get killed by the ballista, so... Really, really... I love this match. I just love this match. I love this game so much. We have another boat coming up. After this ship, I would really, really like to see Axum start building regular units here. We're going for architecture. We swapped out of phalanx at some point. And now we're taking architecture. That feels like a misplay. We need a strong military. We can see these forces outside our border. Tricky, tricky, tricky. I mean, this is a pretty good unit. We have Eagle Eye, we have Warden, we have Bloodthirsties. This is pretty well promoted. We can get Besieger. We have a Builder on the throne. If we put a couple of... Our Builder is doomed, actually. So if we can just put one urban tile here and here, this Besieger... Well, I mean, I guess... Technically, we wouldn't want to do that, because that will actually add defense. So I guess it would nullify it, but... So ignore that thought process. Putting mines on the hill, that's good. We do... Our economy's pretty solid, actually. Let's do a comparison here. 27 food, 32 iron, 60 stone, and a massive amount of gold for the Axumites. Compare it to 57 food, 39 iron, and 26 stone with a pretty sizable amount of gold for Assyria as well. So relatively even, slight advantage in two categories for Assyria, and an advantage in stone for the Axumites. So yes, we're definitely going to need, because the thing that's misleading here, right, as the Axumites, when we look at this power graph, it says Nizar is weaker, right? Isn't that incredible? It says Nizar is weaker, but I really think, unit for unit, we have so many archers. Let's take a look. The army of the Axumites right now is 2 warriors, 3 axemen, a spearman, and a demit, with 5 slingers, right? And then they have a chariot. So 16 units on land total. If we have another Byreme coming out. Good God, man. If we go to Assyria and we look at their army, what do we have? We have 7 archers, 3 axemen, and a warrior. So, and then a ballista. So in total, I guess Axum has a few more units in total, but I don't know. 7 archers, everybody with a chance to crit, compared to 5 slingers, that just makes me nervous, is all I'm saying. It makes me nervous. Ships, there's nothing wrong with building ships, but I mean, you also need to protect yourself at land. If Nizar just decides to walk into Axum from the south, I mean, you're going to need more than 3 slingers to defend yourself. It's nice that he has this anchor potential, though. He didn't reset that up, though, so he'll be able to have high mobility all across this ocean, the Axumites. Okay, so we're healed up. This is another opportunity, guys! Oh my god! Oh, what is happening? What is happening? I can't handle it. I cannot handle this game. I cannot handle this game. That's 4. That's 4. That's 8. That's 12. He would lose. This is the issue. Although we have slingers in the area, that's only 1. Yeah, this is crazy. This is the type of issue that we're dealing with now. If Yagman tries to take a crack at this ship now, well, all the archers in the region are just going to obliterate the ships. He'll lose at least 2 ships, guaranteed. Pretty convinced he would lose at least 2 ships. Oh, man. Can't handle it. Going for rhetoric. This would give Nizar his 3rd law. Okay. Good to see. Our choices were drama, free ebony, and monasticism. Yeah, I don't hate rhetoric. That makes sense here. Get that law momentum up. Building axemen. And this is the issue. So this is the other thing about the boat production, right? Nizar's building an axe and an archer, right? So every build queue you spend on a ship is one build queue that you're not spending on land units. So if your opponent builds 20 units and you build 20 units, but your opponent builds 20 land units and you build 10 ships, well, if you end up in an actual invasion, your ships can't help. So even ignoring if Nizar can never get across this bay and everything just came the long way, you still would have 20 units to 10, which is just a nightmare to deal with. So we need to see some more defensive potential on the actual land. I think Yagman is getting a little too cozy here. Building walls in Tushan. I don't really see the point in that. I really don't see the point in that. I mean, what? We're worried about ships coming up and knocking on our door? They do no damage. And if we're worried about poke, well, I mean, the poke's going to suck regardless. Don't really need walls. Okay. Okay. Love this game. All right, keeping our economy rolling up here, getting some more mines in the hills of Adulis. We don't have another settler coming out for this city down here. I'm pretty sure we can do, yeah, we have a 4-turn settler up in this trader's seat. Probably work with that. Even a 4-turn settler in the champ seat, but we definitely want to keep building units. See, this is the other thing. 2-turn slingers, man. Just keep building slingers because ranged attacks are so strong. The ability to focus fire. So this is what I would have loved to see. Just keep building 2-turn slingers, get composite bow, upgrade them into archers. And now you have a bunch of archers to match your opponent. We only have 5 slingers so far. We could have 10 by now. And that would be a lot harder to deal with if they can make landfall. Of course, a ballast is going to shred everything. Look at that. That's how much a ballast will do. All right, we have some advancing. Another anchor. Advancing position. Getting close up here as well. Another ship coming on the way. Hopefully this will spook Nizar to back off. He could try to be bold here and go in for the anchor. In which case... Oh yeah, that's going to do so much damage. This ship can do 4 and 7 damage to these guys, and it will only take 5 in return. Wild. Wild. It's got to be opinion related. Oh, we have some negative opinions here. Yeah. And then we have friendly family, so there's about a 15% combat strength difference between both ships. Family can really impact things. Because positives for one side combined with negatives for another side will certainly compound. We're headed back to Nizar now, and let's see what decisions he makes now that he sees ships. You can see, his scout can see these 2 ships, so he knows. Alright, we're headed back here. We have the training to get lading. I suspect with that positioning, he must have figured that out. Really tough spot to be in. Gonna keep my eyes on that ship and its ability to promote here. Building, we got our forestry, so we're gonna start getting our wood economy online, which is great. That'll help deal with our archer surplus. We have lots of lumber mills being built throughout the empire now. Very nice to see. Oh, cool. And we're getting our fire shrine in the champ seat while also starting our lumber mills. That's really nice to see. Good combo there. Nice kind of empire management on Nizar's part. All right. Yeah, so this is just terrifying to look at. I mean, think about the morale, right? Think about the mental endurance. You know, you're Axum, you're Yagman, and you're just staring at this. And you know there's a ship in the water. I mean, I would be terrified. 18 orders. Doesn't look like there's much to do with them, to be honest. Severely ill on the ruler. And we did get a new ruler for Axum. So let's take a look at her. She is a Pathfinder, which is nice. We have lots of nets. Witty Scholar, 6 Wisdom. Scholar is really great to get in our situation. Now we can go wherever we want in the tech tree. So even if we want to get architecture, we can pop right back to composite bow if we deem it important. And we're already tutoring an heir, which is nice. 11 years old, so we'll get the full payout of tutoring there. That's nice. Nice to see. And we have... Let's see what the heir is on Assyria. A very nice high wisdom judge. One of our adoptees. Intolerant is a little less ideal, but educated, humble, prosperous judge. Not too bad. Judge will be decent to get us the ability to get our unique unit out pretty quickly once we have our 4th law. That's always a nice synergy with the judge. Let's see if Nizar can remember to utilize that upgrade ability. Seems to be an easy ability to forget about. And more staging on the island of Mograt. Really, really cool. I love this map. And back to Yagman. So close! Oh, man. So close to get that tech. Hate it when that happens. Oh, we can get intelligent. That's amazing. Or robust. I would honestly still go with intelligent here. Curious what he'll pick. We'll take a check on that in a second. Again, a science comparison between our players. Yagman took a dip from his ruler die. I'm pretty sure his ruler actually already had intelligent. So getting intelligent again would bring him right back up. He still has a lead on Assyria. I think intelligent would be the one to grab. And we did. We went for intelligence. So that's going to shoot right back up. Fantastic news for Yagman. Really great to see. Building roads. I don't hate it, but feels a little unnecessary with the coast. But not the worst, I guess. Really good civics production here. We can get some officers. Oh, we have an estate in this city. That sucks. Never mind. I mean, officers for the science if you want it, but unfortunately, this one's not really going to produce that much military. All right, a nice tense build up as the players stare each other down from the center of the map. Let's take a look at cities. We have 7 cities on Nizar now to 6 on Yagman. Once Yagman can settle this spot, he will actually be even in city sites. So that's another issue of not taking any time to produce a settler. We're producing a worker. We should be producing a settler here. Master Poet in the capital seems like a misplay. Oh, is it a new one? Never mind. I thought that was an upgrade. Yeah, all right. That's fine. That's fine. More science. 78 science now to... On Axum to 48 from Nizar, Assyria. But that's the thing that we're going to run into. This science lead is going to count for nothing if you can't defend yourself. So kind of skipping some of these key science texts. Although, you know what? I think I understand the switch now. Grabbing architecture does get him a 4th law. So I can understand it. I still think composite bow would have been the right thing to grab for the quick slinger upgrades. He's building another slinger right now. You know, the 4th law is important, but you still need time. You're going to need to build those strongholds, and then you're going to need to build the units. But of course, having 6 strength units will be useful. So we'll see if Nizar continues to give Yagman some room to breathe. We did not get this. This is key here. This is something I'm going to keep coming back to each turn to try and check. 1 turn on rhetoric for Nizar. And just kind of in a holding pattern for now. Oh, this is awesome. These raiders they're coming from over here. They're actually raiding Nizar. Let's see about the opinion there. Oh, it's because we have peace. Great. So this Vandal site, all of the Vandals in the center. We have 4 more units. Oh, this is so great. I love this map so much. So there's going to be constant stream of raid pressure. That's a nice way to take advantage of the landscape of a map too. You know, there's no real time to come up here and clear these sites. So you make peace with the tribes, and that protects you from raids. This is going to put Nizar in a similar situation where he's going to want to try and make peace with these tribes if he can. So that's cool to see. Yep, this site should raid soon as well. Yeah, so there's 6 units headed to Nizar, and once he spots these, this might make him hesitant to launch an attack, which will afford Yagman more time. Really, really great to see that. Right, building camp, getting our order up. Let's do an order check, actually, amongst our players. Orders were relatively even. We took a drop here. This is probably legitimacy from the ruler dying recently. You know, so robust could have been a decent grab recently as well. Continuing with our forestry development. Probably going to build another lumber mill right here. Yep, there we go. We're rushing. Oh, we have a judge. Okay, so we rushed out some officers. Good to see. Keep your build queue focused on building units. Judge governors are really, really useful in a military city because you don't want to waste time building all these officers, so you just rush them out with gold, which gets you right back to building slingers, archers, or whatever else you want to build. Really, really nice to see that. We are still severely ill, have not gotten doomed yet this turn. And since the last time I checked, Nizar has purchased orders 2 more times. And these tribes should hit the water shortly. I don't think they'll get that far, though. But soon, Nizar will see that he will have a little bit of a barbarian horde on the way to his shores. This is a really great. Oh, crap. And we got lading! Oh, no! Oh, no. So 1 more turn we can anchor. And Yagman doesn't know. Yagman doesn't know yet. He doesn't know because he can't see it. Crazy. Crazy tense. Would love to see Spoked Wheel here. Get more chariots out. Get kill potential. The other thing that's important about chariots... If we're Axum, we're looking at this army. All we see is archers. We see archers. We see a couple of axes, one that just got upgraded, right? A ballista. What does this tell us? This tells us that our opponent doesn't have... We can see these down here. 2 archers, axe, you know. So we're looking at the field. We can see what our opponent has. We don't see a spear, a single spear in sight. That, to me, tells me 3 turns. Grab spoked wheel, put more chariots in the field, increase your kill potential. Building a stronghold now. That's 5 more turns before we can build another Demit. We're going to need more time. In fact, with rushing in our civics rate, you could literally get spoked wheel and rush out a chariot, or... How much training do we have? You could get spoked wheel and build a chariot in this champion seat. Oh my god, we're going Polis. In the time it would take you to build this stronghold. Thereabouts. Plus or minus 1 turn. Thanks. Someone in chat saying they appreciate the tips and tricks. Of course, just keep in mind, I'm not playing. I'm not under the time pressure. I also have an overhead view of every possible thing that's going in the game. So I'm sure once I finally enter the tournament, I'll make plenty of mistakes or tactical errors or missteps. Also, don't forget, in the multiplayer setting, our players, not only are they timed, not only is there more pressure because of that, there's more pressure because you're up against a human. There's also no undo. So... if you make a mistake, that's it. If you misclick, even if you misclick, it wasn't unintentional, you just accidentally hit the wrong spot. There's no going back from your mistakes in a network game when it's real time. There's no undo here. So with all of those things in mind, it's certainly easier to kind of comfortably sit back, watch a game, and say all the things that should be happening, right? It's definitely a luxury I have. But I'm happy to help out. We've gotten lots of good feedback, myself, Alcaris, and others, about how watching these tournament matches have been a helpful way to learn the game as well as being entertaining. And that's what we want to see, man. We just want to see people engaging with the game. It's such a fantastic time. I spend most of my free time now, rather than playing the game, just spectating and commentating on these matches. And it's still just as much fun. All right, back to Nizar. Let's see what we're going to do here. Also, 4 turns from spoked wheel. And this is the other reason we're going for labor force. That makes sense. We're going to get our law. That will be law number 4. So then we have siege towers we can throw across the water. And let's talk about that, okay? Siege towers are terrifying. Not siege towers, battering rams, but eventually siege towers. But the Assyrian unique unit is immensely powerful, right? It's just a nightmare to deal with. It's hard to kill, and it does it destroys cities, and it will kill units on urban tiles. Right? So, but what is its one weakness? Its one weakness is that it's slow as shit. You can't move it anywhere. So, the singular most terrifying situation to be in when you're facing an Assyrian empire is if they have coastal movement. Coastal Assyria is horrifying to deal with because they can now teleport. Uh-oh. Misclick. We have a misclick. So there we go. That's what we say. This is, as far as misclicks are concerned, that's a pretty good one. But Yagman will now see. Oh, if he only spots this. Yagman might not even notice this border here. Here's hoping that Yagman is paying serious attention because, again, he still cannot see this ship. But you do get an outline, which, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure I agree with. If you can't see the ship, it should maybe be like other pieces of hidden information where if you can't see the thing, why can I see the border of where it can anchor? I might mention that. But for now, this is how it works. You do get the border of the anchor, even coming out of the fog. So Yagman does have one last opportunity to do something about this. This is why we really need Fara's ship here. Even though the ship would die, you could walk up and knock this out of position and disable the anchor. Oh, man, this is tense. This is tense. Ah. All right, but this is the final setup here. We have 2 tiles we can anchor across. So let's talk about the solution to this. Functionally, there isn't a way to stop landfall from this tile. Because even, except for putting a ship right here. So that's how you would do it. You would need to put a ship here, and then another ship here-ish, or maybe over here. Yeah, to make sure that this path was zone of control locked as well. But without putting a ship directly in this tile, you cannot block this zone of control. So let's take a look at Yagman and see. Wait a minute. Yeah, Yagman. This is Yagman's turn, and we're 2 orders left. So I think he's about to get dogpiled next turn. We're not doing any movements on these ships. Oh boy. The end of days is upon us. I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure what Nizar is talking about. Because he did say that after anchoring. But I mean, that's exactly where you want to anchor the ship. So, I'm not sure he notices that. I can't see anything else that might have been a misclick. He does have a raid incoming, so hopefully that will buy Yagman time. Hopefully that will deter Nizar from invading. I can't expect that it will. But don't come and kill these units. Alright, we're headed over to Nizar once more. And now we can make landfall. And look at all this damage we can do. We have 23 orders. We have a tactician. Oh, wait, no we don't. We have a judge. The judge just came out. Oh, the judge is ill. The judge could die. It's wild. Oh, we could purchase trees. Oh, excuse me. Peace with the Thracians if we want that. All right, so. Oh, yeah, this is going to be really hard to deal with. So, they are similar in power, but a handful of Yagman's power is in the ocean. Tense time. We're coming up with axes down south. All right, so it looks like he's going for a 2-pronged approach. Maybe bring some units down here, get Yagman to react to the south, and then invade from the north. Now that we have the color here, Yagman will be more likely to spot this anchor. Wait, does he see the color? Yes, he will see the color. So yeah, that's more likely to spot it. Wow. Incredible. The final promotion of that bireme with lading. That's such amazing luck. Love to see it. Good job noticing it. Good job going for it. That's the exact position you want to put the ship. Crazy. This is a wild, wild match. Axum doesn't really need to deal with these things. They will probably pillage this, but they're making their way to Assyria. They just pillage on the way. So no big deal there. They'll keep going to Assyria. I'll be curious if Nizar opts to go in now. It's going to be really interesting to see. Another promotion opportunity. Oh, wow. He could do Highlander or Eagle-Eyed on his full crit archer. Crazy, crazy stuff. His order potential has dropped as well, though. So that could be a saving grace, except that Assyria will get orders every time they kill something, and their kill potential will be high. So it doesn't look like we're going in this turn. One more turn being spared for Yagman, which is nice. Get another slinger out. And apparently that's it. Okay. Oh, man. Yagman has been ignoring... This is wild. This is so misleading. I feel so bad for Yagman. Feels misleading to me anyway. Because these archers are just going to bring an alpha strike so hard. But, you know, Yagman is no stranger to being invaded. His first opponent in the tournament was Marauder, who bludgeons his opponent with relentless assaults, and Yagman was able to comfortably and tactically hold his opponent off. So maybe we'll see the same type of performance here now in this matchup against Nizar. We're seeing promotions and generals across all units. This is really, really great build-up. This is the type of staging you want to see before military attack. We have the secured position, so when someone asked earlier about going in early versus going in later, another thing that can delay your advance is really making sure you run around and have good generals on your units. That takes time, that takes training. We basically have dumped all of our training this turn into upgrading and promoting our units. So that's a good way to do it. Interesting constructions of walls happening here. This is another thing with the same theory applies. The same thing with the champion seat, right? Settling it here. The reason why I disagree with walls is because look at the staging that we're doing. We're preparing to attack, right? We're preparing to harass or attack down here, right? The reason why the wall doesn't help, and I'd rather build a 6-turn slinger, right, is because if this city ends up under attack, then that means all of this stuff we lost. So if that happens, if we've lost these battles, I think having a wall outside of this city is going to be the least of our issues. I think it's much more better to just build a slinger that we can use in the coming war. Slinger upgraded to archer or whatever else, right? Which isn't to say that you should never build a wall. It's just tricky to get them to really pay off, I think. To be honest, I probably would never build a wall until I had access to moats, specifically. So I would wait till I had portcullis until I bothered, because then I would build a wall, and then I would build a moat. And, going back to judges, right? We're on Yag's turn. So, no real reaction to what we're seeing here with this build-up. Slight repositioning into some woods. Let's take a look at what this ballista can do into these woods. Still massive damage, 12 damage. Of course, that would... Oh, we have a rushed wall. So this is actually a great example, right? Obviously, we don't want to spend civics on it, but we don't really have... We have a judge, actually. But that's what I was going to say about the projects, too. If you have judges lying around, slot in a judge and rush out your walls. Don't spend 9 turns, 8 turns building a wall. Just spend 400 gold on it. Or in this case, since he's probably clocking an emergency situation, I suspect he just spent his civics on it. Which, I mean, I would still probably prefer another military unit. Also, fun tip. He could have spent 100 civics putting this judge in the city and then just spent gold. And he would have saved himself some civics. But he actually is broke right now, so I guess that doesn't work. Lots of anchoring happening. So still no effort or pressure to try and deal with this ship or block a zone of control. Let's see what Nizar does. We have a raid still showing up on the coast. We'll see if he decides to come back and deal with this. which would buy more time for Yagman. Definitely an interesting situation to be in, because I feel like there's a strong attack potential here. But obviously you don't want your coastline to get harassed, so I feel like Nizar kind of has to clean up this raid for now. And then I suspect any moment now the Thracians and the other Vandal camp will then send raiders of their own. So seeing Nizar constantly get harassed across the ocean is kind of hilarious to me. Going for sovereignty, which will be our 5th law. We'll get the civics boost as well. That's a good grab. That also gets us tyranny, which will be very useful for champ nations, or just in general, champs and hunters. Get you. And we're going to lose a unit down here. We have our first engagement of the war. This unit should definitely be dead. Oh, no. He'll have to... He doesn't even have enough training to kill it. Wow! So that Slinger's going to survive with exactly 1 health. No crits that I could see from Assyria. Not enough training to get anything in range to hit it. This very well promoted Slinger will live to fight another day. I wouldn't even bother healing it up in this situation. I would just send it right back to the city center. Well, I'll probably heal it for 1 turn because it can't hit anything from there. And then just get it ready to start lobbing good attacks on these people. So now what I'm concerned here, though, is that we have a chariot down here with a promotion. We can take some kills in this situation, but I really feel like what's going to happen is we're going to see Yagman come down here with units, and then we're going to see Nizar go straight across the bay. So really, really tense 2-pronged situation for both players to be in. I kind of like this distracting salvo down south to try and draw out troops from the north, I suspect. But of course, from Yagman's perspective, we'll hop over there now because we're just kind of choosing build queues. We're rushed out of Rancher. Oh, I mean, I guess we used a judge to do that, but we do finally have, with our judge upgrade, we did it! We did the judge upgrade. Ah! Thank you, Nizar! Thank you, Nizar! You're amazing! This is the first judge upgrade that I've actually seen in the tournament. Someone actually make using of this. So now he can start building rams right away. You don't need to wait 5 turns. Brilliant, brilliant. Love to see it. Good job, Nizar. Okay. Back to Yagman. Really tricky situation to be in. That'll give us a full view of the potential landscape of decisions he can make. 21 orders. So it looks like there was an order dip. There was a massive order dip on Assyria. This could prove problematic for a coming war. This is really great news for Yagman. That ruler dying really cost Assyria a handful of orders. That's what disabled the ability to kill this unit. We're going in with a Demit in the south. All right. Drawing troops south. Coming in for a rout. Great to see it. First kills happening now. Okay. We'll see if we have more kill potential. He might choose to sacrifice the Slinger. It's very well promoted. Normally I talk about trading troops. I don't think I would... okay. I don't think I would sacrifice the Slinger here. Alright, so we are in a tough spot. Alright, that's dead. And we need to get this fella into the city. Alright, so 2 kills is pretty solid. 2 kills. Now... that's our turn. That's our tactical decision. We have 6 units down south defending Stabai. We've taken 2 kills. This force down here that Nizar has cannot do anything to take any units back. However, what we're going to see now, we're going to head back to Nizar in just a moment. We have an event on this character. We have some build queue decisions we need to make. Would like to see more ground troops. I don't know why we're building an acolyte here. Do we have religions yet? Yeah, we already have a religion, so that seems like a waste. We need more military units coming out for Yagman. But now what we want to watch out for... Oh! Yagman went spoked wheel! Yagman went spoked wheel! This is amazing! I'm just noticing this now. He did go spoked wheel, so we will get chariots coming out soon. Fantastic. That's exactly the type of kill potential that Yagman needs. Fantastic. Really, really great to see. Let's see that 5 turns. All right, so building another officer is not the worst. Still anxious about being invaded here. Like, time to see if Nizar feels like his bait worked and if he launches him. He has landfall from this raid in the north, so Nizar will need to make a decision with his only 16 orders. Does he aggress into Axum now, or does he consolidate this position? He's going to lose his temple. He's going to lose his lumber mills. He's back. He's retreating his units now. He's forced marched. So he's already spent 9 of his orders, or 8 of his orders, retreating from this battle. So I don't think there's not enough orders for him to aggress with this force. So this is amazing. Axum has successfully deterred his opponent. We're also now backing off with our axes. This is great. Great timing from the raid in the north. And now, with our units backing off, it's going to take even more orders to get them back into position. So it's going to make it harder and harder for Nizar to really leverage this jump across the bay. Awesome to see. Really awesome to see. And that's Nizar's turn already, just retreating from this conflict. So now Axum is safe to return these units north and prepare for a potential impending invasion, which I think will effectively put Nizar in a tricky situation. I think this invasion from the north is starting to lose its steam, which is another reason why I want to see more units. We have a stonecutter from the capital when we could be doing a 4-turn slinger or 5-turn axe. This is why I want to be seeing more units coming out of Axum for now, because he's getting turns. He's getting time to get more units in the area. His opponent shows weaker, but I don't know. It's hard to judge with the ships in the water. It's 1 more turn on our stronghold. And we're already building a ram here, right? So think about this. This is just to demonstrate the benefit of the judge upgrade ability. We know that Axum beat Assyria to 4 laws and started building their stronghold 5 turns ago, 4 turns ago, right? So the timing on the 4-law tempo was in Axum's favor here. But check this out. Because of the judge on the throne and the ability to upgrade Nizar, it's Nizar who's going to get their first unique unit that they're constructed anyway out onto the map first in 4 turns. Before Axum can even start working on the progress. That's the power. That's the tempo there. We're going for portcullis. I don't hate that grab. We can start setting up agent networks. We have a scout down here. An agent network in Nimrod would be really useful. Clear you this vision in this whole area. But yeah, that's the power of the judge upgrade there. And really, really easy to overlook the military advantage that the judge can allow you to do, because in addition to the ability to get your tempo, your law tempo, faster than anybody else, because of civic rushing, gives you the civics to adopt the laws. The upgrades give you the ability to upgrade your stronghold. And then, if you're flush with civics because of running hold court, also unique to the judge, then you can rush out your unique unit. It's like a trifecta, a combination of different skills that allow the judge to really nail their law timing, which is neat to see actually show up in a game. All right, not really spending any time repositioning these troops down here. Still doing some economic turns, it looks like. Portcullis will be nice. The other nice thing about Portcullis in this situation, we have really good science, so I feel like we can take the deviation. Will give us the ability to put networks up, and then also after on this card, there's the free onager, which I'm sure Yagman will feel compelled to grab, and just having one onager, I mean, even ignoring this pressure you could put on this hill, if you put an onager on this hill, this city will be harder to take. An onager right here, lobbing in this direction, would be really difficult to take. This is such a great matchup. Both players playing quite well. Yagman showing his potential, really taking the time to develop his nation. There is an element, I think, there has been an element here, a little bit of greed that perhaps Nizar could have punished. But, you know, I'm not so sure. And the story of this ship is just incredible. The fact that it even exists is amazing. Look at this. We still are waiting on navigation to build our own ships, right? Coming in with this raid now. But then the fact that it came down here and managed to survive is just incredible to me. Fully promoted ship that should not exist. Yagman had every opportunity to kill this, for sure. All right. Our economy on the Assyrian economy is fantastic, though. We're making 100 food per turn, clearing up these tribals. Nice crit there. 61 iron per turn, 66 stone, and 28 wood. Compared to Axum's, oh, another crit. Really nice to see it. Compared to Axum's, 31 food, 48 metal, 35 stone, and significantly less gold. So Nizar has also done... Wow, that's, I think, 3 crits. Fantastic. Oh, man. And this is why we keep show crits off on network duels, because if Assyria can just plan their crits perfectly, that is such an overwhelming advantage. We just got 3 crits in a row, but it's important. Sometimes we'll see in games where, like, Assyria will go to last hit one unit, you know, that has like 2 health left, and they get a crit. It's important. It's so important to have those crits that occasionally, you know, get wasted too, because there are other moments like what we just saw where Assyria's just going to get 3 crits in a row and they get 6 orders for it. Awesome to see. And this wall will be finishing up. Still really don't think that this was necessary, honestly, because this is such a hard city to take. Like, if this city starts falling, I mean, it's not going to be a wall that saves it. But, you know, I mean, whatever. I guess every little bit helps, I suppose. Have a commander husband. Oh, our ruler's very old. That because we adopted her early. I remember. Nizar adopted this character very early on in the game. Nizar went on a bit of an adoption spree, so he has a massive royal family filled with different people he could name as his heir. You know, the one thing, I think the one advantage to this, I was asked by Alcaraz last game when we were casting this together, with what are the advantage of adopting a bunch of characters. I think the other thing is if you have the civics for it and are willing to take the legitimacy hit. Look at this. He now has a zealot. His heir is a hero. He could abdicate to a zealot. He could abdicate to a builder or a commander. He could abdicate to a scholar. So, or not this one because it's abandoned, but you know what I'm saying? The more characters in your dynasty, you can always click on one of them, you know, make them your chosen heir, and then just now you have a builder on the throne. It's very expensive to do that. It's taxing on both your civics and, more importantly, your legitimacy, and it can backfire because characters don't like to be bypassed, so they could come back and stab you in the back and kill your fancy leader that you tried to put on the throne. We now have another battering ram. Same situation here. Nizar going with the judge upgrade. So again, to highlight that tempo, Axum actually beat Nizar to 4 laws, and their stronghold is finishing up for the first time now, except it's Assyria who's getting their rams out sooner. Incredible. Incredible to see. Yagman's turn. Hopping back over to Yagman now. Right? So now this first stronghold is being finished. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have strongholds being built anywhere. That's a misstep, I think, because even if you don't have good military training in your cities, you can always opt to rush your unique unit out using civics. All right, what are we doing now? Healing up down here. Would like to see some repositioning, yes, at the very least to the coast, because, you know, with your units along the coast and these anchors, they'll be able to go as far as they need. Look how far this slinger, this Demit warrior can go. Can go anywhere in this peninsula. This is a really nice place for Axum to be staging, because you end up in a very similar situation that Nizar has. Nizar can come in onto the peninsula, yes, right? But this is as far as he can go. So if he comes to aggress into this spot, he can get hit from the north, he can get hit from the east, and he could get hit from the south. And these units are going to be able to choose wherever they want to go. So this is going to be a very difficult situation for Nizar to attack into, even though he does have that anchor. This is just the coolest map. Oh my god. Wow, it's really cool, man. This is going in the highlight reel. For sure. He's kind of helping out Assyria a little bit by not letting these raiders get where they need to go. In fact, now I think this thing's going to hit the land and probably start attacking him just because of aggro reasons. Yeah, he's killing it now. That's unfortunate. Or he attacked it anyway. All right. Let's take a look. We can do our chariots in 2 turns. Demits in 3. Would love to see a couple of chariots right now first. We don't really have... Would have to sell resources or chop wood. But I really think at least one more chariot out in the field. Especially because a lot of this is open plains. Chop these 2 forests. Don't build any more improvements in this region. And then your opponent would be attacking into lots of flat land, which will be good for your chariot. And again, as far as we can tell as Axum, Assyria has no spears. '83 science on Yagman, on Axum, compared to 43. So this is the crisis Nizar is now in. Axum has twice the science rate. That's only going to climb because we're getting portcullis of all things now. And I hope, for the love of God, we see a composite bow grab and an archer upgrade soon. Okay, so we're taking a 10-minute break on Yagman. And Nizar is going to probably play his turn. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. Nizar could always give Yagman an infinite turn when he comes back. No real issue with that. The timer is there to create pressure. The timer is there to create quicker games. Oh, we got the event. So we built a wall here. This is one nice thing about building walls, is that there is an event that will get you a moat. I suppose between these 2 cities, I would have rather seen that down here. But still, now there's a moat on this city. So, I mean, let's check this out. Yeah, that city is not falling to anything anytime soon. Not only is it hard to attack because it's on the coast, now there's a moat there. So it's going to be forever to take that city. So, cool. That's cool to see. Beautiful flood up by the capital. Love. The flood is my favorite graphic that came with all the calamities. To be honest, I kind of wish, ignoring all the trash for a second, I kind of wish rivers just looked like this. Really unfortunate that they don't, because every time I see a flood, I think how beautiful they are. I also think the rivers are just hard to see. Like, there's a river right here, and you can barely tell. But that's just me. All right, Nizar is taking his turn, cleaning up the last of these barbarians. 2 rams coming out in 3 turns. And those will be trickier to deal with, but this is another reason why we went with a Dement warrior. I really want to see chariots in this situation. That's the other thing you need to think about, right? When you're trying to think about countering your opponent. Your opponent now, we can see here, if we hover over, if we were Axum, we can see 4 laws, so we know rams are an option for his army, which means we can counter that with chariots. We have a free ballista, we have rams on Assyria, which are siege units, and we don't see spears. So as Axum, you should be building some chariots. Not to say the Dement warrior is bad, but the chariot will put in more work. Build a couple of Demets, yes, but I would love to see 3 or 4 chariots first. And you could always rush out a Demet if something happens. I tend to prefer rushing out the more expensive things to build. Nice to see Nizar doing a deep dive here, trying to get a sense of Axumite's territory. 2 turns on the settler up in Sabat for Axum, so they will finally settle their last site. Should be no issue to get down here. Look, this spear from this region can get all the way down here. So even you could probably settle this in 1 turn with a force march from this location. I love this coastal movement here. Oh, nice to see. He's making sure his wood economy stays up, and he's just getting a woodcutter. I don't hate that. Decent science, too. Woodcutters generate a little bit extra science. Compared to the typical rural improvement. All right. So Nizar's turn should be concluding shortly. He's spent all of his orders. No events left, only 1, but he's doing a worker in Tushan. Not 100% how I feel about that, but let's take a look at the worker stat just in case. 10 on Yagman, 8 on Nizar, so maybe we need another worker, but I feel like they're the better spot for it. Not really, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you don't need that many champions workers, to be honest. He only has 2 champ cities, and his champion seat is mostly improved at this point with the improvements you want, right? So that's another way to factor this in. He has 1 champ worker. Does he have... He has 2 champ workers, right? Right here. You have your barracks and your rangers and your stronghold, and you could build a citadel, right? You're literally running out of tiles anyway. You don't need anything else fancy in this city, like a garrison maybe. And what else do we have here? Yeah, that's it. So then you over here, you probably want to build some barracks, maybe a range, your garrisons and stuff. So you don't need a worker. You have 2. You have 2 workers for 2 champion cities with 1 almost fully, completely improved. So in terms of long-term efficiency, that's another thing you need to think about sometimes. Nimrud is basically done improving itself. You could play the rest of the game without ever adding another single improvement in this city, with the exception of the stronghold and maybe a citadel eventually. Maybe you add in an Odeon or something to increase culture, but get yourself up to strong. It's still a bit of ways away from strong, but for the most part, I mean, the city's pretty okay. He will need to worry about strong culture if he wants to hit 7 laws, so where are we on that culture stuff? Let's see. We don't have drama. We're not getting monasticism. Nor land consolidation. I don't think there's any groves in this area anyway. Okay. Yeah, so I guess a drama and a couple of Odeons would help speed that up. What about governors? Nobody adds culture there. Could do an acolyte, but again, that takes time away from building units, which I guess wouldn't be the end of the world, but... Yeah, but in terms of on-the-map development, this city's done. So yeah, we don't need another worker. We are taking a break here. Yagman took about 10 minutes to himself. So let's go over some stats. Let's go over game stats, what we win. Wealth is now in Nizar's favor. We do know he has a strong economy, decent stockpiles. Population favors Yagman by 5. They are now even again in specialist. Nizar has done some specialist development in the last 10 or so turns. 12 to 11 here. Slight lead on workers for Yagman. And so now we have 20 units produced on Axum to Assyria's 12. And let's look at the breakdown. 8 of those units, oh my god, this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? So 8 of those units are ships. Were ships. 2 of them are already dead, right? So we have 20 units built by Yagman, 12 units built by Assyria. But if we subtract all of the ships here, right? Both army totals are the exact same. So what does this mean? This means the Axumite army is a militia, 3 warriors, 2 axemen, 6 slingers, plus or minus the free units. We know he has a free chariot there. We know he got a free demit, right? But in terms of units actually built, we have a militia, 3 warriors, 2 axemen, and 6 slingers. Compared to Assyria's 5 archers, 2 slingers, which are probably upgraded to archers by now, 3 axemen, and 2 warriors, which are also upgraded to axes. So some of these warriors are probably axes as well. But you know what I'm saying? So so the actual number, the actual size between the armies produced here on land that can fight a battle, you know, on this peninsula or over these hills is 12 to 12 right now. It's real. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic that Yagman has control and superiority of the sea, and it's fantastic that he has this strategic movement. I'm not saying building ships was a blunder by any stretch of the mean. This is a great position to be in. But what my concern is you know, we just built another ship here at some point. So it's like he's gonna need to build more units that can actually fight a war for him. Because with all the ship production, their army strength is effectively the same, or similar anyway. Even though his opponent is showing weaker, and that's the misleading quality of that. It's tricky to intuit that dynamic. Alright, and we are back, as Nizar has so wonderfully spelled out for us in the chat. Yagman has returned. And he's just I suspect he's taking a look around to see if Nizar did anything sneaky. This officer being finished will be nice. And then hopefully we can get to slingers. Maybe some axemen. Chopping some woods. Great to see it. Do we have any other horses on the map? We have a horse down here. Okay, so it would be lovely to see a horse, a pasture on that so we can improve, so we can build more chariots at some point. The nice thing about portcullis, too, is technically that doesn't mean we're that far away from stirrups. Stirrups hasn't really shown up in the tournament so far, but horsemen and specifically horse archers are pretty great, actually. The nice thing about horse archers is they do their full amount of damage to spears, because the pole arm benefit towards mounted units is melee only. So even though a spear will do the full amount of counter damage to a horse archer, so you know, a spear will still do a lot of damage to a horse archer. The horse archer will do a good amount of damage in return. So this is a nice... if you built a lot of chariots and your opponent counters you by building a bunch of spears, and you're close enough, you know, you're close enough to stirrups, you could always opt to grab stirrups and then upgrade all your chariots into horse archers, and now you're back to kind of being more even with your opponent in terms of kill potential. You do lose the ability to rout with horse archers, though. And then the other weakness to horse archers is that they can't upgrade to anything else, so you're stuck with them for the rest of the game. But not necessarily a bad response if you end up in a situation where you have a bunch of chariots and your opponent has a bunch of spears. So more raids. Nizar must be very frustrated that the tribes are so interested in the lands of Assyria. They've heard about the Assyrian economy, and it's just so much more enticing to raid the shores of Assyria than Axum these days. So this is just a really wonderful amount of raid pressure. And let's not forget, if you caught the first half, Nizar actually made his way halfway up here. He scouted this location. He came up here with the starting unit. Could have cleared this camp if he just kept going and chose to, but he opted to turn around. So this could have been a wildly different game if Nizar ended up going across the northern map. Getting a garrison down in the cleric's city. Doing really, really good job. He honestly, I'm pretty sure the majority of his forests are getting lumber mills at this point. One more coming up here. Yep, he only has a handful of forests, probably about 10 more forests left in his land that don't have a lumber mill. Really, really good development there. He's going to need it for his rams, and he's going to need it for his archers. One more turn on sovereignty, and that will allow him to get tyranny. He has no civics, though. He's at least 10 turns away from that. Maybe less if he counsels a couple things, or like these stop building civics production. So probably 7 to 10 turns. I'm going to go back to looking at a few more stats now. Civic production favors Axum at the moment. Training production heavily favors Nizar these days. Makes sense. Training, he has the ranges from composite. That's another reason to get composite early enough if you can. Really ramp up your training production. Science still massively favoring Axum. Double science on Axum, and has been double for a few turns now. And thankfully, Nizar has spiked his orders back up. One of the benefits that is giving Yagman more orders is serfdom. So that's nice to see. He went for engineering, which does make sense. We'll see if he grabs another wonder. He doesn't really have the economy for it yet, though, so that'll be a ways away, but maybe philosophy would have been better here. Especially because he is choosing to build some specialists in location, so philosophy will help speed that up by 20%. Could always swap to engineering later when you want to wonder spam once your economy is in a better position. All right, turn 55, back to Yagman. Really strong play from both players. 2 turns on Portcullis. I think this will be the earliest Portcullis grab we've seen in the tournament so far. We've seen a couple of late game drags grab Portcullis, so we've seen agent networks, but I don't think we've seen what could theoretically be a sub-turn 60 agent network in a city in this tournament so far, where the player who, certainly not where the player who gotten that advantage wasn't in a position where they could get killed. That will be cool to see. I'm curious. I'm hanging here to see if he's going to bother force marching this. I think I might, but I guess it's not essential. Yeah, this movement is fantastic, man. I would like to see kind of everything be on this coast, really. But even this axeman could get all the way to these tiles. This chariot can go anywhere it wants. in this peninsula, pretty much. Would like to see some preemptive chopping of these woods by a worker at some point as well. Don't want to give an archer a tile it can hide in. That's going to dampen both your ranged attacks, but also your chariot attacks. And we will have our second Dimit Warrior coming out next turn. So yeah, so that's so cool. Even though Axum beat the law timing because of that judge and the champion seat, the first self-built ram and the first self-built Dimit Warrior, the unique unit for both players, is coming out on the exact same turn. One turn apart. Really cool to see. Alright, more farms. I must suspect this farm development, this food development, is being done with horses in mind. Alright, we have another ship moving up. I am deeply curious. One thing I wonder about, obviously I don't think Axum's in a position to do anything about this ship, but I'm hoping that at the very least, Yagman is aware that these guys can come in. I suspect he is. He seems like a good player. But that would be such a blindside. Alright, we got our sovereignty we can adopt. Oh, we'll get the civics boost right away, which is nice, so we can get tyranny in 3 turns. Tyranny would be a really nice grab here. We could get 4 science off of Constitution, which honestly we kind of need. We're falling behind in science. Or we could get a massive training boost, and tyranny alone can really help our income situation. I think the problem we're going to see here with Nizar is he's kind of stalling out a little bit. His order economy is not the best, and his science rate isn't the best. His resource economy is fantastic, but and now with this raid pressure, he's going to be in a situation where he keeps thinking, crap, I can't attack. Crap, I can't attack. I have to deal with this. I have to deal with this. So it's kind of like contributing to a stall. We have a new ruler on the throne. The judge did die. Well, talk about timing, though, right? You get a judge on the throne long enough just to upgrade 2 strongholds to get your unique unit timing out. That's fantastic. But we have now a swift hero judge. Honestly, hero is the correct general you'd want to see in this situation when most of your military is archers. You could do a scary launch offensive. His hero is on an axe, which is probably the correct thing because it's awkward to... Or it might not even matter, really, but you could just put a unit in the center of your archers. It doesn't matter if it's an archer itself because the hero itself can't attack and launch offensive at the same time. So, we're making really good training now. And, looks like Judaism has landed in the realm of Assyria. So we're getting a Jewish disciple out of the champion seat. Going to start working on spreading our religion. Navigation and monasticism in the draw pile. I'll be curious to see what... Oh, as well as machinery. Man, machinery would be a really good grab for Assyria. But that's another reason why we want to be thinking about chariots for Axum. Because, you know, we're looking at rams. We're looking at a free ballista. And then eventually onagers could come along the way. So the more chariots we have in that situation, the better. Thanks for joining us. Yes, we have someone in chat who caught up to where we're at now. And they just remarked on the not grabbing the free ballista. Thankfully, it's worked out for Yagman. Nizar just hasn't really gotten... Despite the chaos and danger of these archers, I would say it's... especially now at this point, Nizar is just not really in a good position where he can kind of leverage his advantage here to cross this strait and land on the peninsula. But we'll see, you know. We'll see if Nizar goes for it. Nizar is definitely no stranger to aggressive plays. He's definitely no stranger to risk. So we'll see if he opts to try and press an advantage. Going for a Fisher and Sabat. Let's see what... So yeah, these demits will do a number on archers. This is great. 8 damage and they get disarmed. So yeah, with some demits in the area, add in a couple of chariots, because let's not forget, if we disarm this, then the chariot that comes in, you know, once they're on our land, right? He'll come in, he'll try to attack, we'll hit an archer and do 8 to 10 damage. It will get disarmed, and then a chariot, let's do the chariot, whoop, will come in and be able to kill it off. So yeah. Right now, these 2 units could kill this archer out in the open. But even though we'd do 8 damage here and then 7 from the chariot, I think with the disarm, that would enable this chariot to kill this archer. So yeah, demits and chariots in this situation are going to be a really, really nice combination for Yagman. We have... Wow. I kind of love this. I kind of love this. He's going to need to worry. He's going to have to get his Axumites in positive relations. So discontent could be an issue long term. But the breakdown of cities, we have 5 champion cities in the Axuman Empire compared to 1 trader's seat and 1 patron seat. This gives me a nice opportunity to talk about empire distribution anyway with families, right? Some people think you need to settle all of your families evenly, which that is helpful, right? But before we go back to Nizar, I just really want to do this real quick. The patron seat, one of its benefits is boosted happiness in the main city. So we're making no happiness from discontent, but minus 120 opinion from envy. And so effectively what you do, if we look here, right? The champion city itself has negative 200 from discontent. So by having this benefit, patrons can effectively trade discontent for envy in terms of family opinion, allowing you the possibility to bring in more cities of a different family type if you want. And it seems Axum is content to go full military across their empire and take the opinion hits in his other 2 families, in which you'll notice the comparison between these 2 families, that the patron's family is able to tank the opinion hit much easier than the trader's family. And we'll do another comparison here. Envy plus the discontent in the 1 city is 200, right? Versus no envy and 200 discontent in the champion's family. So the malice, the opinion malice for both families is effectively the same. Again, it's the same principle where you're trading discontent for envy. And then if we now look down to the patron seat, they have just the minus from envy and no discontent. So between the 3 families, it's the patron seat that actually has the easiest time managing its opinion here. So that's really cool to see. But the trader seat and the champion seat are even because of the size of both families. I hope that people understood that a little bit. But yeah, it's really cool to see. Oh, we have a little bit of a graphical bug here, so hopefully that doesn't pop up too much. I'm nervous about exiting in this situation because I have been having issues coming back in as a spectator. All right, seems like the graphical bug has disappeared. All right, we're getting a road network up. Love to see that. That's nice to see. Getting more lumber mills, I suspect. Yeah, we have an amazing tribal assist here from the Vandals and the Thracians. And look, I was right. We have another raid coming. So it's just a cascading wall of tribal raid. But you know, this is not a situation that Nizar is incapable of managing. He does have an ambassador. He could make truce with both these nations, and he could attempt to make peace with both these nations, these tribes. We did see that in a different matchup where we had a similar layout with tribes off in the distance, the potential for coastal harass on their opponents, and both players in that situation made peace with the tribe. So the tribe basically became a non-factor in that game. And over on Yagman's side, we have some rebels, it looks like, too. Oh, opinion in Assyria is not looking great. Opinion in Assyria is not looking great. 220 discontent for the hunters, 140 for the clerics, 140 for the champions. All right, back to Yagman. And Yagman, yeah, comparatively, Yagman is at peace. We have portcullis now. Let's see if we have a good... We can get 9 more science. Just about to hit 100 science per turn. Pretty decent timing on that. Turn 60, 100 science. Not bad at all. And we'll see if he goes right in to try and get an agent network as well. I'd love to see that. This could be that could get him some more science. And also just vision. I mean, I'd probably just force march the scout into some key location like up in this city and get you clear vision of your opponent's peninsula. And you'd be able to see what they're building. You get full stats. You can enter... Once you have an agent network, if you're not familiar with that mechanic, he'll be able to open the city just like I can and see everything I can see, including the yields, including the build queue, including the discontent culture, everything. It gives you complete access and vision of the city. It's an incredibly powerful mechanic because if you get enough agent networks all across... We're actually moving in now with a scout. If you get... And we have our spy master... All right, we'll see if we go for the fourth march or if he opts. I'll be curious if he goes for the capital or the more strategic location of Nimrod. I'd prefer to see Nimrod in this situation. Martyman wouldn't be that bad either. My choices here would be Nimrod first, maybe Martyman, or maybe he goes to the capital thinking there will be good science there, but I would care less about the science in this situation, more about the tactical importance of the vision. Come on. You want to do it, Yagman. You know you want to do it. No, we're not moving. Okay, well, whatever. Build in more stuff. All right, so hopefully he does that next turn. Maybe he doesn't want to force march it. Well, that's a good sign for me, because that tells me he's going further than Carchemish. Carchemish is not the city you need to look at right now. But yes, so, long-term benefit. Basically, if you get to Portcullis and you don't die along the way, right? With enough scouts and enough money, you can put an agent network in every one of your opponent's cities, put an agent in as many of the cities that can hold an agent, and then you're basically playing the game with full vision. And there's very little your opponent can do about it, and that is a massive strategic situation to be in. So, really, really cool to see a relatively early portcullis in this game. We have rams. We have 2 rams on the island. So Nizar still staging from this strategic location. Still dealing. Oh, I do have another graphical bug. That's annoying. Let's see if I can't make that go away by hitting a yield, a thing. Isn't there a button I can get that makes... I don't know all the hotkeys. Nope. Okay, well, that sucks. Maybe if I don't look at it, it'll go away. All right, I'm going to try and exit and come back to this to see if that will help. I really don't want to get locked out, though. Though, the nice thing about this graphical bug, this has been a thorn in Mohawk's side for quite some time. Creeps up every now and then. Been hard to iron out and locate. And I've been hearing rumblings that I think there might be a incoming permanent fix for it. So if that happens to be true, it'll be really, really good news. Maybe if I swap sides, it'll help too. No, that's not. All right, well, Nizar's turn's finishing up. Literally the one location I don't want it to be in, too. Like, this is the most important location on the map. How hilarious is that? It couldn't, like, the first one was, yeah, down here in this corner. Okay, so I'm going to have to reload this, and hopefully I won't get bugged out. So let's try and do that. And if I get stuck here for a second, I'll just bother the players and hope they'll reload. Oh, crap, yeah. Sorry about that, fellas. Technical difficulties. Yeah, this is annoying. It's not in the list because the game's ongoing, so I can't just jump in. I will hop onto Nizar's stream while we wait and bug him there. Do. Apologies for the technical difficulties. And if you're watching this after the fact on YouTube, feel free to skip ahead because I'm not going to edit this out. And once I get it resolved, we'll be back to the game at hand. Let's see if he saw my message. Okay, Yagman says he's coming to his limit. Okay. And he's going to finish his turn, and they're going to continue tomorrow. So, unfortunately, I can't capture the last of that turn or do a recap there. Yeah, and Nizar has agreed to that in the chat. So we'll just end it there. It's not in the list. Okay, so my apologies. We're going to bring this to a close here now. Things are heating up in the game. Next time, now that I know that I'll run it, if I ever run into this issue again, next time I know that I'll communicate with the players before I exit the game. That way, if they do decide to pause, we can just close it out. But yeah, so thank you for watching. If you're watching on this after the fact on YouTube, please like, please subscribe. We will be getting part 3 of this game tomorrow. So for those of you with us live, we're going to be doing this the same time again tomorrow. And I appreciate you being here. So things will heat up as players... Oh. Sorry. All right. Nizar says he's in the zone. Yeah. All right. Yep. Yagman has reached his limit for the evening. No, completely understandable. It's been a stressful, tense match. And yeah. All right. So I will be closing the stream here. Thanks again for watching live. Thanks again for watching on YouTube. Please like, please subscribe, and join us. Tune in for the next part of this game. I will likely be hosting it again tomorrow, and if not, it will be on someone else's channel. Take care, and thanks for having fun in the old world.